Greetings. I hope I find you well. It's me again, Kosi Inspire. Have you ever felt like something is holding you back? Something painful that just won't go away? Well, if you are like that, you are not alone. Today we are talking about thorns, not just the ones on a rose bush or a thicket, but the ones in our lives that challenge us, that push us, and believe it or not, they can actually bless us. Yes, some of these thorns, they can actually bless us. They are there for a good reasons. The Bible talks about a thorn in the flesh in 2 Corinthians. It talks about a thorn coming to buffet, a messenger of Satan coming to buffet Paul with a thorn in the flesh. This thorn in the flesh was something that caused excruciating pain to Paul, so much so that he couldn't be comfortable in his own flesh. He couldn't be comfortable to do what he wanted to do. So a thorn in the flesh is something that comes to remove your comfort. It brings a lot of discomfort, pain, and sometimes struggles in your life. It can come in the form of a heartbreak. It can come in the form of financial struggles, betrayal. It is something that lingers, something that stays, and which hurts you, either in your heart or in your physical body. Now, take a moment to think, what is this thing in your life that you can say is a thorn in the flesh? For some people, it's failure to secure a job for a long time. For some people, it's failure to find the right partner. For some people, it's being betrayed by their own friends. For some people, it's just not being able to achieve the goals that they want to achieve. For some, it's debt. It is something that when you think about it, doesn't give you any peace. It is a thorn in the flesh. And I know most people don't like to hear this, but in each and every person's life, if you want to admit it, you might find that there is actually this thing that you can call a thorn. You might be successful financially, but when you look at your kids, you might find that there's something that is giving you discomfort. You might be successful with your kids and with the relationship with your wife and everyone at home, but when you go to work, you find that something is not giving you comfort there. Or it might be your dreams. You want to achieve something, but you're not able to reach there. You've been trying to grind. You've been trying to put in the effort to hustle each and every day, but there seems to be a shortfall either from you or from your resources. Something doesn't just add up. So there is a thorn that you can actually say, this is a thorn in the flesh. And this thing, when you look at it, it causes you to ask the question, God, why me? Or God, where were you? Have you ever come to that moment where you wanted to ask God that question? Where you felt like God let you down? Where you felt like the angels looked the other side? They didn't come to aid you in time. If you are like that, you need to linger on these teachings that I am giving, because I'm going to answer the questions of where was God, and God, why did he let you go through that? And I'll highlight to you how these thorns are actually here for a purpose. They're not just here to cause you pain. They're not just here to frustrate your peace, but they are here for a reason. Okay, let's continue with the understanding of what a thorn is. I have seen a friend of mine whom I grew up with. He was pierced with a thorn. This thorn was long, so much so that it came through from the bottom of his foot and appeared at the top. Unfortunately, it didn't hit any bones. It hit through the flesh, so it didn't break on its way up. And unfortunately, it went too deep that he couldn't hold it with his hand to extract it. He couldn't use anything else to extract it, as he didn't have any surgical blades or any accessories to use to extract the thorn. They tried to use scissors and stuff to extract the thorn, but the more they tried to catch that thorn, the more it broke and the more it was difficult for them to actually extract it. He had to stay up for about 3 months with this thorn in his flesh. The only solution was to wait for the thorn to rot inside, so that the barks, the pieces can begin to come out, be expunged with the pus that was coming from the wound. He couldn't use his leg for those 3 months. He couldn't even go to school because of that thorn. And unfortunately, he couldn't afford a doctor or to go to the hospital to get that thorn extracted. So a thorn in the flesh will increase the amount of pain you experience the more it stays unextracted. It's like a person who is unemployed for 3 years. The first year is still hopeful and thinks that maybe I can get a job. But the longer he stays without a job, the more his needs and responsibilities increase, the more his debts are increasing, and he's unable to really cater for them. And when he's unable to do this, the pain of not having what he desires increases. So let's look at one person who went through a time of pain. This person was Hannah. Hannah's pain was barrenness. She had a painful thought of barrenness. She wanted a child so badly, but it wasn't just happening. Can you imagine that? She was watching others get the very thing that she has been praying for. What have you prayed for? What have you been praying for that you didn't get, which others are getting? And at times when people are getting what you are so desirous to get, you sometimes think that these people don't deserve it, because the way they really use that thing that they are getting so easily, yet you are crying day and night to get it and not getting it. So it's like they're abusing the gift that they are receiving. They do not know the value or how precious the gift that they are receiving is, and how you would have used it if you had received it in your own hands. So Hannah is seeing people like Peninnah mistreating, abusing their children, and other people in the community abusing their children, and she's saying, if I would get a child, God, I would treat him as precious as I can. I can even give that child back to you. That's the mindset of Hannah, but she is not able to secure that child. So what do you do when you desire something so bad that it causes you pain? We need to learn from Hannah. What did she do to get what she wanted so badly? She wanted a child. She went to the husband and told him, I want a child, but the husband couldn't do anything because it was beyond his power. There are certain things which are beyond men's power. There are certain things that men cannot help you with. There are certain things that only God can do. And these are the things which cause more pain, because sometimes you are qualified for the job but you're not getting a job, and only the person who can give you that job is God. What you need now is a miracle. You're a beautiful lady, you are educated, you are God-fearing, but you're not getting a man. No one else can give you a man except for God. It's like what Jacob's wife said. She said, give me a wife, give me a child, or I die. And Jacob's reply was, am I God to give you a child? So there are certain things that you cannot actually ask a man. A man can be wishful, can be willing. A man can be willing to give you that thing, but he's unable in his capacity to help you. So we need to learn from what Hannah did. Hannah turned to prayer. She didn't give up. She turned to prayer, and that prayer changed everything. So when you have something that is painful, that is lingered for long, that is in your life that you cannot be able to solve on your own, the answer, the solution lies in prayer. But what kind of prayer? You don't need to make an ordinary prayer that other people are making. Hannah prayed to the extent that the priest Eli thought that Hannah was drunk, of which she wasn't drunk at all. She was drunk. She was intoxicated in prayer, intoxicated by the Holy Ghost, so much so that she wasn't concentrating on what was happening around her. She was concentrating on what she wanted. So sometimes we are not yet ready to receive what we need. We are not yet ready to extract our thorn up until we are so serious in prayer, so much so that we are not looking at our surroundings. We are not looking at what other people are doing. The fact that other people are not praying, we should not cause us not to pray, because what they need and what we need are two different things. Hannah's prayer wasn't just a request, it was a vow. She said, if you give me this child, I would give it back to you. So that's the level that we need to go to when we are praying. Hannah prayed so passionately that her prayer changed everything. But I want you to notice something, the blessing that is in the pain. Later on, after Hannah prayed for the child, God gave Hannah Samuel, the best child anyone could ever wished for. Samuel was a prophet, he was a leader, he was a righteous person. At one point in time, he called all the people and asked them, whom have I robbed? Whom have I done wrong against? And nobody could stand to say, you have wronged me. That's how righteous he was during the time of the law. He was blameless. Who wouldn't want a son like that? But how did a son like that come? The other people who were not barren, they did not get a child like Samuel. And I want you to notice this. All the people in the Bible who went through pain of barrenness, they got the most remarkable sons anyone could ever wished for. Let's start with Sarah. She was barren. She got an Isaac, okay? Let's go to Rebecca. She was barren and she got a Joseph. Let's go to Manoah's wife. She was barren and she got Samson. Let's go again to Elizabeth and Zechariah. They were barren and they got a John. Let's go back now to Hannah. She was barren and she got a Samuel. All these people had to go through a thorn in the flesh. I'm not saying that God's only way of giving you good things is through pain. There are thousands of people in the Bible and outside of the Bible who God blessed without pain. But what I'm saying is that when you have done all you can do to stop your pain, and your pain is not stopping, maybe your pain is hiding a blessing. I'm not saying that God's only way of giving you good things is through pain. But I'm saying that whenever the enemy sees that great things are about to come out of you, he sends a messenger to buffet you so that you do not get what God has in store for you. The enemy closed the womb of Sarah so that an Isaac would not come. If Abraham did not relate with God to the level that he was relating with God, Isaac was never going to come. He was going to die barren, and the blessing they were never going to see it. The same with Hannah. If Hannah had not prayed the way she prayed, she was going to die barren, and the summer was never going to come. So know that in your pain there is something that is hidden, that the enemy is trying to keep hidden. There is a blessing that God has installed in you that the enemy is trying to hide. So it only takes prayer and a relationship with God, walking with God, that is going to bring out the blessing that is in you. Hannah got her Samuel after prayer. Hannah got her Samuel after she fasted and spoke to God with tears, with trembling, with shaking, with the whole of her being. There are certain prayers that we need to make with the whole of our being if we are to make it and if we are to release the blessing that God has already given to us. God has already given us the blessing, but the enemy is hiding the blessing. So we need to fight the enemy in prayer. We need to engage God as to get what is ours back